All of the kalim, as well as the boards, the hides, the entire Mishkan were brought to Moshe, and Moshe was the one who actually put up the Mishkan. Rashi explains to us that the reason why Moshe was given the task of actually standing up the boards and actually erecting the Mishkan was because he was not a participant in any other part of the Mishkan. All of the kalim were made by other members of the Klal Yisrael. Hashem wanted to allow Moshe to have a part in the Mishkan, therefore he was given the role of actually erecting it, actually putting it into place. However, Rashi explains to us that Moshe Rabbeinu had a problem. The reason why no one else put up the walls of the Mishkan was because physically it was impossible. They were way too heavy. There was no way that a human being could possibly lift them up. Therefore, they were brought to Moshe. But the same problem that everyone else had, Moshe Rabbeinu had. He also could not lift up the walls of the Mishkan. He could not put it together. So he turned to HaKadosh Baruch Hu and he said, Hashem, how could I do this? Hashem said, don't worry. Just go through the motions, wave your hands. It'll appear like you're putting it up, and on their own, the walls will stand up. Kachava, that's in fact what happened. Moshe Rabbeinu went through the motions, waved his arms, and the wall stood up. This Rashi is rather difficult to understand because the Akamas HaMishkan, the erecting of the Mishkan, is attributed to Moshe. He's credited with putting up the Mishkan, yet the reality is he had nothing to do with it. He waved his arms and magically it appeared. How is he the one who's credited with actually putting up the Mishkan? And I believe the answer to this question is predicated on understanding any creative act that a human being engages in. If you would imagine a couple who decides to have a child, they don't claim to have the wisdom to create the actual baby. They're unaware of the biology. They don't know how to wave the neural pathways. They certainly don't know how to synthesize a brain. All of the actual creation of the baby is done through systems that HaKadosh Baruch Hu created. They sort of flick the switch and the fly gears go into motion. All the processes happen. They are considered the creator of the child because they turned on that switch. But all of the processes, all of the machinery behind it has been designed, created by Hashem, orchestrated and maintained by Hashem. They are the creator in name. When they go through the motions, the action is attributed to them, but it's merely a name. Hashem is actually the one who runs the world. And the reality is that's any creative act that a human being engages in. We go through the motions being fully aware that it's Hashem who created this world, who orchestrates this world. We flick on the switch and the results happen. And that's precisely what happened over here. Hashem said to Moshe, throughout any creative act, all a human being ever does is he plants a seed in the ground, and then from its own, the cornstalk rises up. Go through the motions. Here, the activities are different. Wave your arms, stand in front of the Mishkan. You'll be credited with it because this is the system I've set up for this particular instance. And I believe this concept is a fundamental yesod, and that is that any creative act really is Hashem. We are given credit for it if we use the system. Our job is to use the system. Our job is to be creative, knowing fully well at the end of the day it's Hashem who created the system, Hashem who orchestrates it all, and ultimately credit for everything is given to Hashem.